Before we move on, I just want to say that my co-chair is here now, Valentine. So do you want to just
No, you
introduce?
go on and learn from you.
Okay, we'll continue. Thank you very much. And we would be interested in knowing a little bit more about the coordination. I know that, CDC and USAID, when I was in the government, there were issues in the field. If we can learn what those tensions are, it would be very helpful for us in terms of the recommendations we make in the study. Please, Leslie.
I did have some slides to go along with my talk. So, and you're welcome to show them, or I could just talk from my remarks. Either way is
They're
fine.
coming up.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get started. I'm Leslie Ball. I'm the Assistant Commissioner for International Programs, and that's found within the Office of International Programs in the Office of the Commissioner of FDA.
Sorry, to interrupt you briefly, is the
Is that,
remote?
did I have it on the wrong way?
No, the remote to advance the slides.
Oh, okay,
Your
great.
slides are up.
Great.
Fantastic. FDA, I'm pleased to be here to share some of FDA's priorities for consideration in drafting the National Academies report for the next administration on future global health policy of the United States. FDA is honored to be a sponsor of this important activity. The agency appreciates the significance of engaging globally and collaborating with a variety of partners to achieve our collective goals. The committee's statement of task clearly reflects our mutual interests. I'd like to share FDA's priorities with you this morning, and I'm concentrating then on your third question, but you'll see that I'll also weave in the first two questions as well. You'll also hear that I will echo some of the themes that have already been addressed by my colleagues, but I'm also going to underscore a couple of areas where FDA's interests may be unique. So FDA is a public health service agency, but it was historically domestically focused. Increasingly, however, I guess I'm going to have to expand that. There we go. And this, I think we have all of the parts there. Increasingly, we have expanded to have a focus internationally because the products that we regulate increasingly are either produced, tested, or manufactured outside of the U.S. We are also, in addition to being a public health service agency, we're also a regulatory agency, so it bears some mention to go over our regulatory charge. FDA is responsible for protecting the public health by assuring the safety, efficacy, and security of the products that we regulate. We're responsible for advancing public health by helping to speed innovations that make medicines more effective, safer, and more affordable. And we're also responsible for regulating the manufacturing, marketing, and distribution of tobacco products to protect the public health and to reduce the use of tobacco by minors. We also play an important role in innovation and science, including in shortening the product development timelines, approvals in major therapeutic areas, accelerated pathways, and ensuring the safety and quality of our nation's food supply. So it's a very broad regulatory mandate. But within a global context, regulatory systems are not always well understood or appreciated. And yet, without functioning regulatory systems around the globe, U.S. government investments in programs such as the President's Emergency Fund for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR, and the Global Fund may not deliver sustainable results that we strive for. Likewise, given the complex nature of our global supply chains, strong regulatory systems can provide critical oversight upstream to ensure product safety downstream. So what are the priorities that I'd like to concentrate on? Well, since the 2008 report of the Institute of Medicine was released, and with FDA's leadership, the global community has begun to appreciate the criticality of strong regulatory systems for public health, economic development, and security. I'm going to highlight 6 of our priorities, each having a potential for global impact. First is the ongoing importance of strengthening global regulatory systems. Second is the international collaboration and science-based standard setting. Third is antimicrobial resistance, which you've heard mentioned previously. Fifth is the important role of big data for improvements in healthcare. And sixth is our emphasis on patient-focused drug development. To begin, we view strong regulatory systems as essential drivers for success and sustainability for our global investments. If strong regulatory system in a country or region does not exist, investments made by the global health community may be jeopardized or unsustainable over time. Many here that are here today have had an important role in PEPFAR. The U.S. government has provided over $70 billion in funding to PEPFAR since 2003. FDA plays an essential role in PEPFAR through our approval and tentative approval review processes to ensure that those who are being served by the President's plan receive safe, effective, and high-quality antiretroviral drugs. To date, the FDA has approved or tentatively approved 189 products. Without effective regulatory systems, the long-term impact of our collective global health investments could be at risk. Regulatory systems also contribute to an enabling environment that attracts private investment. They are often a necessary precursor for sound, sustainable economic development. It's difficult for any country to draw investments for its pharmaceutical, food processing, or device industries if the regulatory authority there is weak or ineffective. For example, at a recent World Health Organization Collaborating Center meeting on vaccines, one country shared their experience in response to the Middle East respiratory syndrome virus outbreak. They highlighted the staggering economic impact of its infection, including the business losses and decreased tourism. Investment in regulatory systems not only improves public health, but also increases economic security and stability. So this brings us to our second priority, using international venues to expand FDA's leadership and global regulatory reach, both domestically and globally. To efficiently use our resources to maximize impact, FDA prioritizes engagement with multiple parties, but we do this in selected venues. Collaborative engagement with our regulatory counterparts can help leverage resources wherever possible. Again, a theme that you've heard previously. FDA scientific and regulatory expertise is well recognized and respected around the globe. And FDA also doesn't mind when the Chinese Food and Drug Authority also take our name, and other regulatory authorities around the world. The agency benefits from the exchange of ideas with scientific and regulatory counterparts and in building strong institutional relationships. Such linkages help the FDA respond rapidly and effectively to international public health. For example, FDA engages with the WHO to enhance preparedness against infectious disease threats such as pandemic influenza and other emerging diseases, including the recent examples we've heard of MERS, Ebola, and Zika virus. As a WHO collaborating center, FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research contributes to capacity building activities and promotes best regulatory practices, including workshops and regional networks, such as the African Vaccine Regulatory Forum. The FDA also works with the World Bank in the Global Food Safety Partnership to convene public and private leaders in support of strengthening food safety systems worldwide. Side by side with global harmonization activities, FDA has long led in science-based efforts related to regulatory harmonization and convergence. These initiatives align with broader U.S. government policies to promote the use of international science-based standards. Standards are essential as they help to ensure regulated products meet acceptable criteria for safety, quality, and efficacy. They include physical standards, such as reference reagents and materials, as well as written standards, such as guideline documents. FDA product centers provide leadership and expert guidance in a number of international fora to develop international standards, including the International Council for Harmonization, or ICH, which focuses on drugs, as well as the International Medical Device Regulators Forum, or IMDRF. An offshoot of IMDRF is the Medical Device Single Audit Program, or as we call it in the FDA, MDSAP. MDSAP represents a new, innovative, and collaborative effort to ensure the safety of medical devices by pooling resources across national regulatory authorities. In support of MDSAP, The Center for Devices and Radiological Health is teaming up with the Pan American Health Organization, Brazil, Canada, and others to develop a secured information platform that's known as the Regulatory Exchange Portal Secure, that can be used by all of the countries that participate in MDSAP. We've also made great strides. Next slide. We've also made great strides in modernizing our approach to regulation of foods for human and animal consumption. The 2011 groundbreaking Food Safety Modernization Act, or FSMA, rules take a proactive and preventive approach to food safety. FSMA has given FDA the tools to strengthen our food safety system and enhance coordination with other nations that produce the foods that Americans consume. A critical element to FSMA implementation is engagement with foreign regulatory partners, both governmental, non-governmental, as well as industry, to ensure that FSMA rules are well understood and can be fully implemented. The fourth priority, combating antimicrobial resistance, is an important goal across FDA, as we've heard, elsewhere in the U.S. government, as well as globally. FDA has focused on the challenges of AMR through our work in new drug development, diagnostics, vaccines, pharmacovigilance, and combating counterfeit and substandard medicines. In addition, the FDA has developed a number of policies to strengthen the judicious use of medically important antibiotics in food-producing animals, including the Veterinary Feed Directive final rule released last year. We also strengthened our data collection under the National Antimicrobial Resistance Monitoring Program to improve our understanding of the changing patterns and use of antibiotics in farming. Given the frequency of human-animal interface, this is an important issue globally. Now I'd like to touch on FDA's role in health innovation through the use of big data. FDA can be the linchpin between good ideas and good products. And while we appreciate the often seemingly miraculous nature of some scientific and medical developments, promising new technologies may indeed fail when put to the test. As regulators, we play a significant role in fostering innovation to improve health by making sure the newest and most effective therapies and technologies make it to market. FDA is prioritizing the use of big data to develop a system for evidence generation that can meet the demands of coming decades. This effort capitalizes on an enormous amount of work already being done with digital data systems in the delivery of healthcare and agriculture. Medical care and biomedical research are in the midst of a data revolution. Network systems, electronic health records, insurance claims databases, social media, patient registries, and personal devices comprise an immense new set of data around health and healthcare. These real-world sources can provide data about patients in the setting of their environments, whether home or at work, and also in the important social context of their lives. And finally, our sixth priority. Another major initiative underway at FDA is led by our Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, and this is our patient-focused drug development program. We believe that patients living with a disease have a direct stake in the outcome of the drug development process. Patients and their family are also experts in what it is like to live with a disease or condition and can uniquely contribute input that can inform drug development and evaluation. A patient-centered drug development partnership requires all stakeholders, government, industry, academia, and patients and consumers to collaborate in delivering on the promise of scientific research and technology. In conclusion, wherever FDA engages globally, we do so with focus and with careful alignment to our public health mission. FDA can be a catalyst for global changes that bring better data and information, increased transparency, and an appreciation of the essential role that regulation of products brings to communities and nations in terms of both health and economic viability. If one thinks about the range of critical global health investments our government provides for public health, economic development, and national security, one can see that strong regulatory systems and practices are key to sustainable success. Thank you very much again for your time.